So with that, Mr. President, I move suspension of the regular order of business to take up and consider Senate Bill 2485.
Senator West, for what purpose?
Just a couple of questions.
You yield, Senator?
Absolutely, yes.
Senator Creighton, this is a big problem in the state of Texas. I mean, this legislation is solving a big problem in the state of Texas? Or what?
Well, Senator West, you know, you and I would, I'm sure, agree that predictability statewide for policies imposed on the private sector, it could certainly become a problem, as we've seen with ordinances passed recently by the City of Austin and subsequently struck down by the Third Court of Appeals as unconstitutional and remanded, that it's very serious when city to city certain regulatory or ordinances or policies that would affect businesses in that jurisdiction but not in other jurisdictions, it could hurt our economy.
That shouldn't be left to that jurisdiction?
And so my answer is it's absolutely a problem. It's absolutely happening right now, and it's something that in the limited time that we're in the Texas legislative session, I would hope that all of our membership on this floor would be concerned about the climate that businesses face, the hurdles that the small business owner faces every day, and that we watch out for them and have a vision for them, and we protect them going forward, as you and I would both want to do for our districts and our constituents and those hardworking families that are piloting those businesses.
Okay, so let me go back to the question asked.
Yes.
Do you believe that local jurisdictions, specifically those with charters, should be able to determine exactly what goes on within their specific geographical area, or the state should regulate them?
Repeat the very last part of the question. I couldn't understand.
Could the state regulate cities that are charter cities, those cities that have charters? Should they regulate what goes on in terms of the business affairs in that particular city? Dallas, just say Dallas. So if Dallas wanted to require employers to offer LGBTQ benefits, should they be able to do that?
Well, this policy today that we're considering is for benefits, and then I have a series of bills that are
the question I asked, though, should they be able to, if the city says that we want all employers who decide by choice to do business in the city of Dallas, Houston, Austin, wherever the case may be, that they need to offer benefits to LGBTQ?
Well, that would be a non-discrimination ordinance, Senator West, which this bill doesn't have anything to do with, in the sense that it doesn't preclude or keep a city from continuing to pass NDOs or non-discrimination ordinances. And because these are very narrow in scope issues that are addressed in this particular bill and the following three that I have, I think the answer that you're looking for is cities, after the passage of these bills, would still continue to be able to pass their NDOs.
Okay, so the answer to that question is cities should be able to kind of regulate what goes on in their cities in terms of businesses that choose to operate within their city limits, correct?
I think the residents of any city that you mentioned would have to express through their voice to their elected representatives.
Sure, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And then I'm not saying that
why should we try to do that here at the state level? Why should we try to be doing this at the state level?
I'm not saying that the city
members, one at a time. Who had the floor last?
I had the floor last.
Yield.
So why should we be trying to prescribe what cities can do if indeed people locate in specific geographical areas because on their own free will and volition? Why should we be trying to regulate how they go about doing business, specifically as it relates to your particular bills here? Okay. Why should we be doing this? Yes, go ahead.
Let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
I think that cities should be able to offer the ordinances that they feel are important, but if there is a disruption in the economic framework statewide for the businesses that are trying to operate in and out of those jurisdictions throughout the state, we have to have policies in place that are considered at the appropriate jurisdiction, which is the state level, because that predictability is all that we are so proud of in this Texas economic engine. And so city to city, if those policies are different, and we all know that in and out of our districts, we have businesses that operate throughout different jurisdictions, city to city and community to community, and the compliance for ordinances that are random would be an absolute nightmare. And so for the small business owners to the large in committee, that's what we heard witness after witness after witness, is that there's no way that if cities were left to decide these policies when the appropriate jurisdiction has always been the state level, there's no way that businesses either could comply or survive, and that's not what you or I, either one, would want.
So you're saying that there's been disruption?
Yes.
And what has that been disrupt? Give us an example of disruption.
Well, if a city passes an ordinance...
No, you said there has been disruption, and I'm asking him for an example.
So in committee, we talked about, that's why I referred to committee, we talked about businesses that testified that because the proposed Austin ordinance would have affected, let's say, County Line Barbecue, and that because County Line Barbecue is in different jurisdictions, in and around Travis County, and they have drivers, they have employees, they have different locations. Those compliance changes, jurisdiction to jurisdiction, would be too onerous on them to comply with. I mean, we had one business that was doing everything they could to keep their doors open, taking care of their employees with dental, 401k, you know, the benefits that they chose to provide to their employees. But they said that if those certain ordinances were allowed to stand, that it would cost them up to $80,000 a year in compliance, and that they wouldn't be able to keep their doors open.
Well, I'm going to sit down right now because I know there's others that want to ask questions and the time is getting...
Appreciate your question, Senator West.